The crucial 2+2 ministerial dialogue between India and United States of America remains our top focus this morning. Both the countries will sign a basic exchange and cooperation agreement for geospatial cooperation, and that is going to be the big headline of the talks. This dialogue will be held between Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and his US counterpart Mark Esper, as well as External Affairs Minister Jaishankar and his counterpart Mike Pompeo. As I mentioned, the big focus of this high-level meet will be on the signing of the BECA agreement for Geo-Spatial Cooperation. Other focus areas include deepening security and military ties, strengthening of the Quad Forum and boosting of Indo-Pacific cooperation. The two countries will also discuss the steps to contain Chinese aggression. Yesterday, Rajnath Singh and S. Jaishankar held separate bilateral meets with their US counterparts. Today, after the 2+2 dialogue this morning, Pompeo and Esper will also be meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Here's why the 2+2 dialogue with the United States is significant and important for India. For starters, you have two top US leaders, Mike Pompeo and Mark Esper, in India, the timing of which is crucial because it's just days to go for the elections in the United States. This also amplifies ties between India and the United States. Also, in a sense, is damage control after that remark by Donald Trump in the final presidential debate, where he said that India's air is filthy. Now, the biggest headline from this dialogue is that the long-standing pact of BECA for geospatial cooperation will finally be sealed. It will be inked. Now, these particular talks also affirms India's strategic value in the world and how United States values this partnership with India. And we're getting you all aspects of the story that you need to know with just about an hour to go for the 2+2 dialogue to kick off. Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor, is joining us on this broadcast. We have our senior executive editor, Gaurav Sawant, our defense editor, Abhishek Bhalla, as well as Kamaljit Sandhu joining us with all the latest on the story. Geeta, to you first. This is the third round of 2+2 dialogue. The biggest headline, no doubt, will be the signing of the BECA deal. Why exactly has this been hailed as a game changer for India?
It has been an important visit and continues to be because, Akshita, the four foundational pacts that really make the India-US strategic partnership and take it to another level is now completed with BECA. We had the GSMOIA, then the LMOA in 2016, COMCASA in 2018, and now with BECA, the foundational pacts will be complete, which means that the information sharing, data sharing is almost real-time and complete. It is of huge significance with the kind of aggression that we are seeing, not just in the region, but also when it comes to in the virtual space. And that's the reason why these foundational pacts were very important. Having said that, also look at the timing of the visit. Two top leaders of the Trump administration visiting India at a time when US is going to go to polls shows the continuum that we're going to see in India-US ties, despite who comes to office or who takes over the White House. That's an important signal and an important message. Whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, India is always going to be a key factor and a key player in the region and in the world. The separate dialogues that took place between the defense ministries and the foreign ministries were important. They spoke about supply chains, alternatives to China, so on and so forth. But today, the 2+2 ministerial is going to be important. It's not just the signing of the agreement, BECA, but also how they're going to take forward the issue of terrorism. Cross-border terrorism was mentioned yesterday. Pakistan came up during conversations, and the security aspect of the ties.
Okay, Geeta, stay with us. I want to take this across to Gaurav Sawant also. Gaurav, the timing of this dialogue crucial for two reasons. One, days to go for the US presidential elections, and secondly, for what's happening really at the line of actual control. Are we expecting that there will be some mention of China in the dialogue today?
So when it comes to India-US relations, let's take it at multiple levels. One, bilateral relations, then relationship for regional security, then for the entire world. That is where, in fact, this relationship is headed. United States already sees India as a global power. India is expected to play a much bigger role in the entire region. So that's what sets us apart from other countries in the region. The oldest democracy and the largest democracy, when they come together, that's when this relationship is taken forward. The foundational agreements that we're talking about, Limoa incidentally was just invoked for India to acquire high-altitude winter clothing for our troops already deployed at the line of actual control. And that's where the United States rushed in 15,000 sleeping bags, jackets, trousers, and extreme high-altitude gear for our troops at the line of actual control. Intelligence sharing, geospatial information sharing, that especially in the context of line of actual control is extremely significant. It was at the time of Doklam crisis. It is even more significant at this point of time. Of course, the effort is to checkmate China, and in that, Akshita, it's not just India and the United States, but India, United States, Japan, Australia as part of Quad, the Malabar series of exercises, and then other smaller countries but democracies in the region coming together, strengthening themselves, uniting to take on an expansionist China.
Yes.
It plays a very, very crucial role, Akshita.
Abhishek, how do you see this particular dialogue? This is the third round of the 2+2 dialogue. How do you see this really changing or ramping up defense ties between India and the United States?
Well, Akshita, the entire focus is on military security and defense ties between India and the United States. And in the past, three other agreements which were very crucial to military operations, not just assistance, but to carry out operations have been signed. And this agreement, once again, BECA, is a clear demonstration of that. What this will do is to simply break it down, is that it will allow the Indian military to have access to satellite data provided by the United States to carry out any kind of military operations, be it in land, sea, or in the air. And that's where the strike capabilities of the Indian forces will increase manifold. It's obviously very important, the timing of this particular dialogue. There is tension with China, and I'll just point out that yesterday, when the two defense ministers met, the U.S. Secretary of Defense very clearly pointed out that the U.S. welcomes the inclusion of Australia in the Malabar naval exercise. Another clear indicator that big countries like India, U.S., Japan, and Australia have come together. They formed the Quad, and a clear indication that these kind of decisions can isolate China. China has already shown indications of being irked with these kind of alliances.
I think what's very clear is that even if there is no mention of China, Beijing will be watching what's happening very, very closely and what is the outcome of this dialogue. In the 2+2 dialogue, the biggest headline is the signing of the BECA agreement. And we decode for you what the strategic pact is all about and why it's so crucial for India. First, BECA stands for Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement. So this is on geospatial cooperation. What do we mean by that? Well, essentially, BECA provides for the exchange of classified as well as unclassified information, and this is for real-time map data, which will be a game changer in a sense for India, because it will ensure that there is like GPS for real-time targeting by military aircraft as well as for drones. So essentially, it will give them real-time live data that they can use. It also provides India super accurate targeting for ballistic as well as cruise missiles for in the enemy territory in areas and targets that you cannot see, but they'll still have real-time data. India also gets to tap data for US satellites, airborne sensors from the United States. All of that will now be available for India to use on a real-time basis. Now, highly accurate target data to hit terror sites, enemy positions is perhaps the biggest takeaway from BECA, because we get real-time map data for cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. It ensures that you have perhaps the most precise real-time data with regards to your targets as well. So that's a breakdown of what BECA really is and why it's been touted as a game changer of sorts, and why the biggest headline perhaps from this 2+2 dialogue is the signing of that deal. Kamaljeet Sandhu is also joining us from the national capital with more details on this. Kamaljeet, good morning. If you could just break down for us what the itinerary looks like today for Esper and Pompeo.
o'clock, we're going to see the first meeting. And remember, this is where the BECA deal will be inked. The modalities of it has already been announced by both the Indian and the United States side. Crucially is that this comes a week before the US presidential polls, and that this is a strategic partnership which goes beyond polls is something which has been made very loud and clear. So BECA will mean that there is a real-time geo-intelligence sharing on satellite maps, on imagery of everything which is really required, whether it's the line of actual control, a US statement in reference to Pakistan. That is something distinct. But at 10 o'clock is when things start rolling. We'll also know that there is a scheduled meeting with the Prime Minister later in the afternoon. At around 2 o'clock, we are expecting a joint statement. That's where US and India is going to announce the BECA deal. And we'll also be looking at other defense deals in all possibility. And remember, this is where India-US ties become extremely crucial. So it's an action-packed day today. But starting out at 10 a.m. is when, remember, there's also a meeting at the War Memorial. It's a photo opportunity. But clearly, all decks cleared for the crucial deal to be inked between India and United States, and a heavy-duty action-packed day for the rest.
And let me take this across to Geeta Mohan. Geeta, you were mentioning how this particular visit comes at a time just, days before the elections in the United States. And there has been some statement on that front that whoever comes into power, whether there's a change of administration or not, ties between India and the United States will not change. There seems to be messaging on that front also with this visit.
Absolutely, Akshita. We were in interaction with senior U.S. administration officials just a couple of days ago ahead of Pompeo and Esper's visit to India. And in that, when we asked on whether if things are going to change and what impact will this visit really have, if there is going to be or should there be a change in administration in Washington, D.C. And they're very clear that look at the kind of relations. One of the senior administration officials, Akshita, said that if you see India-US ties from one president to the other, it has only grown strength by strength. And we've only seen it grow more. So it is unlikely that there is going to be a negative or adverse impact, because as much as Republicans would want to engage India, look at how Democrats are trying to engage India, not just in their foreign policy outlay during the campaign, but also in their outreach to the Indian Americans. That's how important India has become. So it's not just about how are things going to shift in terms of policy in the United States of America for India. US would be more interested in how India is going to look at the new administration in the White House.
Let me also play out this reaction that came in from Jaishankar. He's the director of the US initiative at the Observer Research Foundation, also, of course, S. Jaishankar's son. Here's what he says about the 2+2 dialogue and its significance.
The significance of this one, I think we'll see a number of defense agreements signed, most notably BECA, an agreement for geospatial intelligence sharing. And a number of other consultations appear to have already taken place in the first day of meetings between the principals, involving primarily, it seems from the readouts, meetings related to coronavirus pandemic and the consequences, as well as security cooperation between the two in the Indo-Pacific.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.